Hello and welcome to CO2T20, Unit 1, Part 2, AC31 through AC50. We're going to talk about creation of query, form, and reports, and this is Part 2 from Unit 1. Alright, you'll notice that I have my visit table open, where all my information is present, and I'm actually going to start my actual query wizard so we can create a query. So I've made sure my table is open. I hit my query wizard, choose my simple query wizard so I can choose the different types of items from my table to add, which in this case is going to be my visit ID and other items. So I choose whatever I want on the left, I choose the arrow to arrow it over on the right, and I'm adding these items to my query. So the query is related to the table in that it actually draws information from the table to put in the query itself. So I've added my visitor ID, my date, and my reason. I push next. I'm going to go ahead and rename my query to the proper name, in which case it's going to be visit list. And then I push finish. Notice it looks exactly the same. If you look over on the object section, I have a visit table, and now I have a visit list query. So I have both of those items there. And I can actually scroll through the different items as indicated, and I can use my record selectors as I have done previously to actually choose the different items in my query. So next record, previous record, first record, last record. It would, however, be difficult to enter in data into the query itself, as the query only displays partial information, so I don't want to do that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my visit table, and I'm going to create a new form. Now, the simple form allows us to input data. Now, you'll notice it has all the items there, and it allows us to input the data into the table using the particular form. I can move back and forth in the selectors using first record, last record, previous record, backwards, forwards, things along those lines. And I've also created another object. In this case, you'll notice I have 3 objects up. I have the visit list, and the visit form. As of right now, the visit form isn't saved, so it doesn't appear in the navigation form. But when I do save it, navigation pane, I'm going to change the name to a visit data. I push OK, and you'll notice on the left-hand side in the navigation pane, visit data now appears. And makes me happy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the different objects. So I just have the visit table up. Now I'm going to create what's called a report. Once again, the report, the query, and the form are all related to the table. A report allows us to see kind of a prettier version of where the data is displayed and how the data is displayed. I choose report. Notice there's my report items. Now, what's important about the way the report is laid out originally is that some of the fields are larger than they need to be. So what I can actually do is I can resize the fields so I can see them easier. So I come along, I select what I want under the visit ID. You'll notice it's that double pointed arrow, and I shrink it. So then I can do the same to patient ID. I can shrink that, and that's awesome. Now, you'll also notice that you have the print preview line that tells you the difference between different pages. If you scroll down, you'll eventually notice the page numbers are located and spanning 2 different pages. Go down, 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 down. There we go. You'll see the page numbers are scanned to different pages. Originally, the report is actually 3 pages, but because that spans 2 different pages, it'll actually be 6 pages. So what I do is I click on it, and I can use my arrow over key on my keyboard, and this is what I'm doing. I'm left click on my keyboard to move it over. And I could have also just grabbed it and moved it over as well. Either one would have worked. And of course, clicking it singly takes a little while. So the other thing, you'll notice I can't see the number of records very well. So I click on where it says 86. I draw that out so I can see more of it on my actual report itself. And what we're going to do is we're going to view the report in print preview. That's going to allow me to see how it'll actually print and how it'll appear when I'm actually printing it. So in my view section, I choose print preview. I can now view all the elements and the way it appears on a page. There's actually 3 pages. I'm using my selectors to move back and forth between the pages at the bottom of the screen. So pages 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3 appropriately. Once I'm done with that, I can simply close my print preview. Now, normally I would print if I wanted to, but close my print preview. And the next thing we're going to do, now you'll notice when I save this, I also have another object. So in the long run, I'm going to end up with 4 different objects. And this is going to be called the details report. Right click, save. And it's going to be called the details. Right. So visit details. Right. Details. I push OK, and now if I look in my navigation report or form, excuse me, navigation pane, I have 4 items over there. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and I'm going to look at the help options. So I simply click on the report itself. I hit my question mark at the very top of the screen. A help pane will appear. You'll notice it says access help, and then I have a search option. It takes a little while to connect sometimes if you're actually connected to the internet or you have a web connection. Now, I won't necessarily be making these for every tutorial because they're rather time consuming. There we go. But in this case, this is a good starting point. So I do my access help, I type in the information I want, push enter, it pulls it up, I have the different subjects there. I'm just going to choose a managing database objects in navigation pane. I click that, then runs it over, so now I've got my database objects, so I can see all my objects there. Take a look at difference. I'm going to take a look at the different ones, read through it, know what's going on. I can ask more help. I can even go backwards if I want to, if I'm looking through for different help subjects. Most of the time you either use your navigation bar help or you throw it into Google, either way. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about, they have a managing a database section, and one of the important parts of the managing the database is compact and repair. As you continue to add to and delete from and add more table records and different things in your tables, modify the database, you'll get what's known as file bloat, meaning the files will be, since it's random access, they'll be divided in such a way. What we're going to do is we're going to compact and repair the database file, compact and repair database. And what that does is it takes it where the files aren't spread out on the disk that make up the program itself, or excuse me, the file itself, and we're going to bring them back together so they're a little bit easier to deal with and take up less room. This article right here is the difference between when you use Access and Excel. Highly recommend taking a look at it. And that concludes the portions that we're going to go over for Part 2 of Unit 1. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the best in the class. I think it'll work out well.